Throughout much of the 24th century, the Klingon Empire was led by Kimpek, the longest-serving chancellor in their history. Respected and feared, Kimpek kept their houses at peace and the empire prosperous. But as he grew older, new political factions emerged, positioning themselves to challenge for leadership when he passed. Representing the old houses and establishment powers was Duras, son of Gerard, descended from an ancient bloodline with influence across the empire. Opposing him was Gowron, an outsider known to challenge the High Council, drawing support from lesser houses and portions of the military. In 2367, when the Empire learned the Chancellor was dying, the rival factions sent their representatives, Gowron and Duras, to perform the rite of succession, which determined the next leader through a duel to the death. Yet this would not be a typical Klingon ritual, as Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the Starship Enterprise served as arbiter of succession, charged with overseeing the proceedings. Known as a famous diplomat and mediator, Captain Picard was summoned by Kimpek before his passing, who revealed that he was poisoned and could not trust those on the council with the investigation. A warrior society, the use of poison was considered craven and dishonorable. Therefore, Kimpek felt his final duty was to ensure the man responsible did not become the new chancellor. Though he was reluctant to accept this grave responsibility, Picard knew that the Klingon Empire must remain politically stable or else risk a war which might spread outside their borders. Taking the role as arbiter, Picard met with Duras and Gowron, but problems emerged almost immediately when a bomb went off during the Sonchi ceremony, honoring the fallen chancellor, killing one man from each faction. Upon reconvening, the rite of succession began. However, Picard delayed the ritual by insisting on honoring old traditions no longer practiced, giving his crew time to launch an investigation into the assassination and bombing. Their analysis concluded that the explosive was Romulan in origin, a people known to employ poison as a matter of statecraft. The bomb was also implanted into the arm of a warrior from the House of Duras, a family with a history of betrayal and cooperation with the Romulans, dating back to the Treason of Gerard, father of Duras, whose actions allowed the Star Empire to destroy a Klingon colony in the Khitomer massacre of 2346. Yet the betrayal was instead blamed on the warrior Moog, until an investigation by his son Worf, the only Klingon in Starfleet, revealed the truth. Yet the House of Duras was so old and powerful that disgracing them almost certainly meant civil war, and so Kimpek and the High Council covered up the crime and continued to blame Moog. Reluctantly, Worf agreed with their decision and willingly bore the stigma of being a traitor's son, as his personal code of honor meant he must act in the best interest of the Empire. Yet with the loyalty of the House of Duras once again in doubt, questions were raised about what really happened at Khitomer, primarily by Worf's mate, Kalar, who was then killed by Duras to ensure she did not learn the truth. When Worf found her body, he claimed the right of vengeance and killed Duras in single combat. Yet these actions were in accordance with the laws and traditions of the Klingon Empire, and so the High Council considered the matter closed, leaving Gowron uncontested in his pursuit of the chancellorship. Yet the conflict was only beginning, as Duras had two sisters, Lursa and B'Etor, who now led their house and were gathering allies to raise an army. Not only did they have more support than Gowron within the Empire, but they were also secretly allied with the Romulans, working towards the goal of shattering the balance of power within the region. Though Gowron wanted to maintain the alliance with the Federation, which ensured the Empire's dominance as a superpower, it came at a cost to their culture. Klingon warriors, who for generations expanded their borders aggressively, had to abandon the old ways of war and conquest to embrace peaceful relations with their neighbors in order to maintain the alliance with the Federation and their position of power. But now the House of Duras believed they could return to the old ways by making a new alliance with the Star Empire, who shared their desire for aggressive conquest. Yet this partnership had to be kept secret, as the Romulans were considered blood enemies of the Empire, and allowing them to directly influence Klingon politics was treason. Lursa and B'Etor interrupted the ceremony to name Gowron the new chancellor, and presented Toral, the illegitimate son of Duras, who came to challenge for the position in his father's place. Knowing that the House of Duras could not be allowed to take power, the Arbiter of Succession denied the request, as Toral was young and had no victories in battle or qualifications to be Chancellor. The House of Duras then claimed this was a Federation plot and withdrew from the council. Civil war then erupted when Gowron's ship was attacked by enemy forces, only to be repelled by Captain Kern, the brother of Worf, who was convinced to side with the Chancellor, bringing with him 4 squadrons of loyal warriors. Though he too was a son of Moog, Kern's ancestry was kept hidden so he could serve in the Empire, but he continued to love and respect his brother, abandoning his own plans to lead a 3rd faction into the war in order to obey Worf's wishes and support Gowron as the rightful Chancellor. Though his army was growing, Gowron remained badly outnumbered by enemy forces, and so reached out to the Federation for aid, but they refused to get involved as it was by definition an internal Klingon conflict. With the honor of the House of Moog now restored, Worf felt a duty to the Empire and so resigned his commission in Starfleet to fight at the side of the Chancellor. Yet despite their best efforts, Gowron's warriors lost 3 engagements in a row, including a hard-fought defeat in the Battle of Mempa, which might have been far worse if not for the heroism of General Martok, who led the retreat. Unwilling to get directly involved in the conflict, Picard nevertheless wanted to help Gowron's faction in some way, and so convinced the Federation to set up a blockade, preventing the Romulans from sending reinforcements to support their secret allies. A trap was then set when Picard convinced Gowron to launch a full-scale assault on the Duras fleet. This unexpected aggression led the House of Duras to panic and send for assistance from the Romulans, who did their best to slip past the Federation blockade. But their efforts were soon discovered by Lieutenant Data, serving as acting captain aboard the USS Sutherland, and so the alliance between the House of Duras and the Romulan Star Empire was finally exposed for all to see. Now recognized as traitors to their people, the Duras family quickly lost support, and Gowron's forces claimed victory. Although the Duras sisters escaped and tried to raise another army, they were killed in 2371, engaged in battle with the Starship Enterprise. Young Torral was abandoned by his aunts and captured by government forces, who named him a traitor. His fate was then left to Worf, son of Moog, whose family was most affected by the dishonor of the House of Duras. Yet Worf, having adopted many Federation values during his life, chose to spare the boy, believing him a pawn of Lursa and B'Etor. But this proved to be a mistake, as Torral once again plotted to seize power when he attempted to steal the Sword of Kahless in 2372, only for his efforts to be thwarted by Worf and his companions. With the Civil War ended, Chancellor Gowron remained the uncontested ruler, reaffirming their alliance with the Federation and restoring the balance of power in the region. To reward those who stood by his side, Kern was given a position on the new High Council, while Worf might have been similarly honored, but he instead returned to Starfleet and his service under Captain Picard. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx, like the Spectral Knight, Lord Terax Zoron, Master of Terror, Sir Bob of the Buoy, and Lucas Glass of Saltspear, Knight of the Iron Shield. If you'd like to help CivilizationEx, click on the Patreon link, and please be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to see more.